morning. I'm back. I'm Cindy DeCiani with RE/MAX State Line here, and we're talking on our different series on how to help you in the housing market. And I'm here with Scott Stanford of Stanford Dearborn Appraisals, and we're going to talk about market values today. Good morning.
Hey Cindy, how are you?
Awesome. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Let's talk values.
Exactly. Is the housing market stabilizing? Do you find that changing?
I'm encouraged because we think most of the downturn has already occurred. You know,
Hey.
the values kind of peaked in our market area middle part of the decade, 04, 05 range. We had a real surging of values for about 10 years, the mid 90s into about 04, 05. And then they started to kind of flatten.
Right.
And in some areas we're even starting to tumble a little bit. But the trigger point for the real housing slump was the financial crisis of 08, September of 08, and we saw just a free fall in all sectors. And really the higher the price range, the worse the fall.
Exactly.
The high upper bracket is still suffering.
Is it?
We're starting to see some good stabilizing trends, certainly in the lower price range and even in the mid price range. So we think we're through the worst of it, and the country's getting their confidence back, I think. The rates are low, the values have been beaten up. It's the best time ever to buy a house. I've been an appraiser for almost 20 years now, and it's historically the greatest time ever to buy a house if you've got the confidence to do so.
Exactly.
And I'm telling people, and I'm sure you are too, that if you're moving up, you're going to sacrifice perhaps a little bit on your existing sale of the house that you own, but you're going to gain so much more on the purchasing end.
Oh
So
yeah, I just got done with a situation where I had a couple that bought their first house 7 years ago, and we sold it for a little less than what they really had hoped for, because they were realistic on pricing. But as I told them, the key is when they were buying, and they were buying over that 250 mark. And that 250 mark seems to be the key right now. Is that what you're finding?
That range, right?
Yeah.
And then you get into the middle, you know, mid upper bracket, the 250 to 500 range, and those houses have suffered and have really declined substantially. And then the high upper bracket, it's almost a different ballgame.
Right.
There's such a limited amount of buyers that can even afford those houses. Right. But I feel, you know, bad for those folks because they've lost substantially. Yeah. You know, huge equity in those upper brackets. But even there, you know, we're fortunate we're living in the Midwest.
That's right.
In Kansas City, because it's as bad as it's been here. It's nothing like other places in the country where I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. But we're getting through it. I'm good. I'm glad we live in Little OKC because our values haven't been as volatile here. So we're coming through this okay.
Yeah, it's nice to see that when I moved here from another area that our values don't fluctuate and go up those 20% and don't drop those 20% either.
Right.
You know, because the diversity of employers and things.
Pretty stable here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So
get out there and buy houses, guys. It's the best time ever.
Yeah. So good thing to know that appraisals are doing okay for our prices.
We're seeing some good stabilizing. We have to do part of the changes that have taken place for appraisers lately is we have to do a market conditions summary as part of our appraisal, and that's a more detailed analysis of the market and value trends. Okay. So every appraisal we're analyzing the value trends. So we're seeing good positive signs lately. The spring market has we've really seen an uptick in the sales volume, and the values are stabilizing, and in some cases starting to show a little uptick even in the price trends. Terrific. It depends on the neighborhood. I don't want to be too general. Right. For the most part, the values are still pretty down, but at least they're not continuing to go down.
They're not the free fall that we had.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Awesome. That's such great news.
It is.
You know, it's about time. We needed some.
That's right.
You know. Well, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Cindy.
And we'll be back again with more on our series.